This way you also know what you're listening and watching for tomorrow morning. So that way we can...
doing our research.
Yes, exactly.
Kind of just big question.
Yes.
Do you think ghosts are bad, like mean, or just good, or just there?
It's a very good question.
So I'm going to put something in perspective for you.
Okay.
How many mean people do you meet in a day?
Like 1 in 100.
I live in Chicago.
That's true.
2? 3?
Out of people you run into, probably
lot,
10 or
yeah.
15, 20, 50?
Yeah.
Like 100.
So ghosts are kind of the same way, you think?
They're the exact same way.
Okay. That's
So,
good to know.
so again, all of the BS stuff you guys see on TV, it's exactly what it is. It's
Yeah.
made for TV.
Yeah.
So hence why I designed this tour to actually dive into the history
Yeah.
and not look for the, oh my God, they're going to scratch me kind of
Right,
crap.
yeah.
Like, that's not what we're dealing with here.
Yeah,
And that's
okay.
that's 95% of
Right.
what I go through when I'm going through an investigation.
Okay.
But yes, very good
Thank
question.
you.
That's good. That makes sense, though. Like, ghosts are just people.
Yeah.
I don't think they're
So it's like the number of people that are mean.
But you know how many people show up here wanting to be scared? So, thermal imaging. I'm the red, orange, and yellow guy in there. Like Meredith said, I'm going to be the warmest thing inside there. And for the bridal party, that means I'm the hottest thing inside the video. Sorry, Ken. But again, it is one of those pieces where we're literally looking for cold spots. The cold spots are going to be blue and black. So with that, we are looking for them to take shape or move on their own. We're going to have blue and black in the frame most of the night because Ken's going to try to focus on a person so that way we have an array of color. There's also a blue dot bouncing around the screen. The blue dot tells us the coldest point in the frame at the moment. So it's going to literally bounce all over your screen. So when you're watching the movie, you're going to be able to, it's going to just help you get your eye to follow where the coldest spot is. If I see something abnormal, I freeze frame it and send you a screenshot of it. So that way you can see this was a 20-degree drop, this was a 40-degree drop, so forth and so on. So Ken, you are going to hold this horizontal all night long with the camera on your left. So I start the recording already just so that everybody kind of has that descriptive of how to watch it. But at the same token, we're going to do some starts and stops throughout the night. First off, the hardware is great. This is a FLIR Pro 1. What does that mean for you guys? Firemen use this to save people. Let's put it in perspective, right? But the software is horrible. If we record for too long, it likes to lock up and freeze up, and then we lose all footage. We don't want to do that. So I will give you the cues of when to start and stop it. Okay. And we're going to be using 2 different types of cameras tonight. So those of you with cameras tonight, I'm going to ask that you are very respectful towards people's cars and people in general. This is Charleston. We get very touchy about people filming our cars. So we're going to be in certain spaces where I'm going to be like, okay, this is a lot. There's parking in here, right? So just stay away from vehicles. So again, people do not like their cars to be filmed. However, if I was a car thief, that would be my first camera to use. Why? Because I know how long those cars have been sitting there based on its heat signature. So, oh, look at that. I'm getting you guys to think outside the box already. This is good.
That'd be a good investment anyway, just for life, you know?
I've used it to fix my dryer, to find out where the leaks were.
If your computer's getting too hot.
Oh, you don't want to put that thing on a computer.
No, just like look at it though.
I know, but you'll be surprised how much heat blows out of your computer.
Oh no, I knew it.
Let's get the other camera out just so I can get that one away before we break into spirit boxes, because that's a lot.
Oh yeah. I draw in supernatural energy sometimes.
I'm glad you're with us.
Well, we'll see tonight, I guess.
We will see tonight.
Yeah, you should be bringing this draw, whatever. We'll see tonight.
All right, next camera. We'll get this one done and out of the way. So, you guys should not be able to see me in there. It should be pretty dark. I know it's a small viewfinder, but this is a GoPro, but it's altered to see this kind of light. So we are working with full spectrum lighting here, so I should be in a pinkish or purplish hue, whatever your eye color lets you to see. So with this guy, we're working with light that we can't see with our own eyes, so the hope here is that we are going to be able to capture something we wouldn't normally be able to see with our own eyes. So this one we're not going to record the entire night with always too, because the files are giant, and some of these spaces we're going to be walking from one place to the next. We don't need to be recording that. So I think we're going to go with you on this one.
Sure, that's a good choice.
I will kind of give you the cues for that and show you much more at our first location. When you get your assigned devices, guys, kind of hang on to your questions. Again, I'm going to show you more once we get to that first stop. Spirit boxes. We're going to be using several different spirit boxes tonight. Spirit boxes are a way for us to communicate with the dead. So the way these work, it's normally the white noise you guys see on TV, right? And then Zach Bagans tells you the BS he thinks he heard in the middle of it, trying to convince you of the same thing. We're going to be doing that in real time. These ones are slowed down. You guys aren't used to listening to white noise for long periods of time. So with all the history I'm going to give you, plus white noise, somebody's going to fall asleep. So I slowed it down so that way the radio chatter does come through. This is another method of using spirit boxes. The radio chatter could be song lyrics, DJs, commercials, whatever you hear that comes out of it, because it will be sweeping at a fast rate according to your ears. To me, it's really slow because I'm used to listening to both types. So anything you can make out of this guy, super, super important that you tell me every little thing, even though you think it might be silly. So if somebody says, drop it like it's hot, it could mean that there was a fire at that location. We have the word hot. You see where I'm going with that, how it could be silly, but it's definitely relevant?
Yeah.
So I have 2 of these I'm going to be passing out. The 2 people using these ones are going to have earbuds in. They will not be able, we won't be able to hear what those 2 are listening to. So this one's also going to record. So whatever they hear in real time, obviously I'll be writing down. But at the same token, I'm going to spot check this guy in the morning and give you 15 to 20 other markers of things that I find. So when I say like there's people walking by, I want you both to be casual. That means you point your camera at the ground because we're not recording anyway. And then Ken, you're just going to be very casual. So that way you don't look like a YouTuber out there trying to film everybody.
He's a vlogger.
Got it.
Right? So when I just say be casual, that's usually the camera people's cue. So people do not like to be filmed. So, oh, back to this one. The people with the earbuds, it doesn't record any outside noise, and you can play with the volume all you want to. But again, the spot check, when I give you the 15, 20 markers that I'm going to find in the morning, even if they're not relevant, I do that so that way the rest of you can learn how to listen to this and what I'm looking for when I'm going through it. If it is relevant, I'll tell you why, based on the person, place, or one of us kind of mentality, and then give you the link to be able to verify it. So, Glenn, this one's going to go to you.
Okay.
This is not an easy job. I'm just giving you a heads up. This is
Well, I'm so high tech. I appreciate it.
You're definitely up
So smart.
you have one button to worry about.
Yeah,
One.
For the time.
you can totally do this.
And you're getting the green earbuds. And oh, by the way, I don't want earbuds back. Earbuds is
Oh,
gross.
I'm really glad. That really
That is
makes
so
me
gross.
happy.
I buy these in bulk, so
Good.
again.
That's really gross.
You're going to have to undo the twist tie, but your volume button is right there. It's a wheel, so kind of get a feel for it and kind of get used to how to turn the volume up and down. Oh.
from Charleston.
Bride to be, you're getting the next one.
Should I be able to
Your phone,
hear
okay?
other
Hold it while you
things?
do it.
No, I got
I
it.
got the extra special case. It's $70. You're late. Thank you for telling us.
So yours is not going to record. So I'm going to rely on what you tell me.
Oh, I don't think I'm the right person for this job.
You're the chattiest person here. You see why I have you guys normally show up early so I can get a feel for everybody? I'm the writer. You're all no.
Pretty quiet
I'm
normally.
actually the quietest.
You guys are also going to watch how quiet she's going to be because she'll be listening all night long. Until she starts spitting out things that she needs to tell
Drop
me.
it like it's hot.
This might not.
Drop it like it's
No, we're
hot.
gonna be relying on
Right
Lynn.
here.
Yeah, Lynn is
You
carrying
don't-
the team on this
Lynn
one.
will
Yeah. Lynn, we're gonna
Hello,
relax. Are you
testing,
sure you
testing.
really want me to do
Yes.
this? Okay.
And if you want to give it up and give it up to somebody else
Oh
later
yeah, we can
on,
switch in our group.
Yeah.
Well, we can switch around.
I have extra
Okay.
earbuds.
That
Just
makes
let me
Jess
know.
be a good
listener.
Fair.
Yeah,
we can
Jess will
we
be
can
a
share.
But I have a
we
good
can-
eye for stuff.
But
too,
she, I
so.
think her with the camera's a good.
I think
a good
you're
fit.
better.
Oh yeah, because you've got the. You've got.
I
I
think
think I
I
need
need
all
all
the
the
equipment actually.
Yeah, just put Jess with all.
Just
of
give me
it.
everything. Just put it all on Jess.
So I guess eventually this will be turned on. Is that right? Right now it's just.
Yeah, I want it sweeping. So
Okay.
the only thing you need to worry about is that little wheel.
Yes.
So you don't want to hit any other
Should I-
buttons.
Okay.
But again, you pop that. Most people just like Allison's doing. You have one earbud in, so that way you can turn the volume up and down and still hear me in the history.
Good call.
All right.
Am I allowed to take a picture with this?
Do whatever you want.
That's pretty cool.
It's your party. All
Oh
right.
my god.
Meredith,
Yes.
you're getting the open air
Ooh. Okay.
spirit box. You will not have an earbud. It does not record.
Okay.
So there are going to be certain spaces where I say it's a quiet space. You're
Okay.
going to turn your volume down. If I'm talking to the whole group, I'll say let's turn down your spirit box. So
Okay.
yours is going to do the exact same thing. It's sweeping through the FM radio stations. So you're going to be listening for those little song lyrics and DJs and commercials to pop in. So whatever you hear, that's what I want to know.
I have a
Your volume
question.
button. Hang on one second. Your volume button is right here. You're going to hold it up gently to get the. You got to give it a second. So,
Oh, sorry. I
You'll-
just don't really see it. Oh, okay. Now I see it.
so go ahead and hold it down to turn it down. You got to hold it.
Oh.
It's not a tap, it's a hold. So
Wait, I
Easy.
don't understand. I'm sorry.
this is face up. I put this on here so that when you hold it up, it brings the volume up. When you push it down and
Is it a
hold
wheel or is it just
it's just
flat?
it's like a little flick, but
Oh,
when you
okay.
hold it down, it turns the volume down.
Oh, okay.
You gotta hold
Oh,
it.
gotta hold it down. Okay.
I'm going to ask
What'd
a
you-
really stupid question. Am I supposed to be hearing things like you just heard
Mm-hmm.
there? I mean, I don't hear anything.
Yeah, I don't hear anything either, Lynn.
You gotta turn the volume up.
I mean, I've gone all the way. I've just gone both directions.
Did I not plug it in all the way? Make sure. Let's see.
But you don't want mine on right now, right? You want it on quiet.
It's there.
Okay, now it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that wheel, yours is inset a little bit.
Okay.
You got yours? Allison,
I'm sorry?
do you have yours working now?
Yeah, I can
Okay,
hear it.
perfect.
Thank you.
All right. The last spirit box I'm going to hand out works a lot differently. It doesn't make any noise. So what this one's going to do is it's going to give us words from time to time in the center of the screen, just like where those 3 dots are. It's going to save all of those words to a list. My last tour had 73 terms show up on their list.
Whoa.
I'm going to clear out their history and start us off fresh. Here's what I'm going to tell you about the list. 80% of it, bullshit. Doesn't mean anything. This is a phone app. It's a game and a hoax. It's the other 5 to 20% that's going to be so specific to our location or person in history we're talking about. It's going to be undeniable. So again, I can't guarantee it, but 5 to 20% is about the average. So if something comes up and I'm like, that's really vague, we're just going to call it 80%. So
Ooh. I am a writer, so.
Yeah, she's copywriter. That's a good choice.
Yeah, I'm a writer.
so am I. That's why I'm here.
What do you write, Nick?
I write books about death. Imagine
Do
that.
you really?
I do.
That is
I've read
interesting.
books today.
I write about point of sale machines. So.
Good book.
It's all going to be on the website tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
When you guys see that.
I'll throw it on Chicago Book Girl.
So when do I like point something out? Just when I see like a
Oh,
word?
by the way, when a word pops up, I don't want to see every word. Otherwise, we're going to be out here for hours. I will come to you when I want to see the list. The way you get to it is that little white box to the right of the
We're
word
just here.
box.
Chop liver.
Got it?
You guys are gonna be on the lookout for ghosts. And you guys are
Okay.
eyes.
Yeah,
We
is there
got-
anything we should do?
Oh, yeah. I got more stuff.
Oh, okay.
I go up to 10 people.
Oh, I didn't know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The whole.
Dana, we have more stuff. We get stuff.
All
We
right.
get stuff.
This is what we call a millimeter. What does a millimeter do? It's multifunctional. So, you guys have seen the little blinky like K2 EMF meters on TV, right? Hang on, you probably need to see it. One of those on TV, right?
Yeah.
So, this one is just going to give us blinky lights. This one is going to be digital readouts, so it's a lot more accurate. So anything above 2.5, I want to know what's going on with it. The bottom number is ambient temperature. If Ken finds something on his camera where it's a cold spot, you and I are going to be able to debunk it by the ambient temperature probe right here. The last thing that it has a REM pod built into it, meaning it's going to detect motion. If something gets close to the antenna, it will go off. The closer it gets, the higher pitch we're going to get, and we have an array of colors that we can work with for call and answer. I'll show you more about that at the first location. So right now, just focus on the 2 red numbers. Nice and easy.
So what was it? 2
2.5
Have our first
on the
word,
big
everybody.
numbers.
2.5 is a big number. Okay.
You got it.
Sold.
Sold is our first word.
Sold?
Yeah.
We're sold on this.
And you want mine to be quiet,
Dana
so right, Nick?
sold her
Yeah.
house.
Okay.
Okay, what is mine? Last but not least, I hope.
I need you to be the responsible.
Oh, God.
That's a good
That's a
choice.
good chore for me.
That's a good choice.
This is the neuralizer for Men in Black. None of you are going to remember anything by the time we're done.
I hope that that's my actual thing.
We're working with lasers.
Whoa.
So,
Pretty.
now, lasers get Nick in a lot of trouble. There's a laser law in Charleston. So, you're going to keep it on the ground
Okay.
and up to 3 to 5 feet in front of you only. These are also strong enough to make car alarms go off. The reason why I'm putting,
I didn't know Carla on the laser.
Motion.
Interesting, okay.
So the point of the lasers is that you can see the dots on the ground and the pen in my hand, but we can't see the laser itself until something passes through it. I'm sorry, I'm losing names. Jess. Thought so. I didn't want to screw it up.
That's okay.
So Jess's camera can actually see these lasers really, really well. So when something does pass through it, I'll be able to get a freeze frame and be able to give you back the picture so we can actually see what we caught. Now the cool thing is we're going to be using 2. The red squares, if we capture something here, I can put it in 3D software and then tell you the full measurements of what we caught with a full 3D view. So I've had this red one for about a year now and haven't caught anything that the 3D software will actually take. So hopefully tonight is our night. So again, you don't want to cross the streams. I know, bad Ghostbuster joke, but it does work here. We want to keep them separated because we're literally looking up here. We're not looking at the squares on the ground. So when you're recording, you're going to record this way.
Got it. So I won't be able to see it in here.
Right.
Okay.
Until something actually passes through it. Do you see my hand lit up red?
Yes.
Okay, that's what we're looking for, but it's going to be fast.
So I'm not doing the grid. I'm doing
Correct.
this space.
You got it.
Okay.
This
Sorry,
one
I have
has a dot that you have to hold to keep on.
Okay.
And then this one, you have to be very careful with because it has a toggle switch. So once you turn it on, it stays on. So lasers are not safe in all areas. So I will kind of give you the cue when lasers are good to go.
But it's only like a little bit.
Yes, always. Yeah, you never. Yeah, lasers. If you flash them up the road, I'm getting arrested.
All right.
So
I
no,
don't want
no
that
pressure.
to happen.
Ken's like, wow, I'm glad I didn't get those.
Yeah, thank goodness. Yeah.
Do I take this antenna out?
No, I'm going to show you more at the first location. Not yet. That's the REM pod.
How does this thing know what words it's picking up? Like it says it's a clinic, and obviously there's clinic right there.
So the words that are coming out of that app, there's over 9,200 terms in there. It's randomly spitting out a word. I did add about 100 extra terms in there that weren't specific to our locations, but could help aid whoever we're talking to tell us a message. So out of those 9,200 words, the game we're playing is it a ghost or is it coming from the app? That's why 80% of it is BS.
Okay.
Make sense to everybody now?
Yeah.
All right. You will get the full list back, not just the words that are relevant, because something might pop up that is personal to you that you guys didn't tell me during the tour, because I don't know you guys like that, and it might be personal to you.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about why we started here. You guys are going to have me talking all night. Hang on.
Yeah, you're the tour guide.
Well, you also have a lot of extra questions, which is good.
We do. We do.
This is
We're chatty.
interactive.
Sorry, Ken and Lynn. We're a chatty group.
Good.
So, Big John's. Place behind me. That's where I asked you guys to meet me. Big John was a football player for the 1947 New York Giants. This was his bar. He used to sit in the back of the bar and he would tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, two guys come in, they're not old enough to drink. He has the bartender throw them out. They leave pretty angry and they come back the next night. They try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on, gets up away from the bar and just starts pounding these guys into the floor, beating the hell out of them. A couple of gunshots go off. John gets hit in the neck and the bullet lands in the wall. John gets up after being shot, by the way. He's the only one that got shot. Goes back to the bartender, tells him to get him another beer, get the two guys on the floor, an ambulance. So, moral of the story is don't mess with Big John, he'll kick your ass. Second moral is nobody died in that story, so what's haunting the place? It's the bullet hole. It's allegedly still here. Even if it's not after the renovations of the Big Johns we now know, because this is relatively new for us here, Big John's blood is still in this building. People that sit in front of this building tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, headache. That's your heated warning. We're going to be dealing with paranormal activity tonight. That's why you all showed up. Granted, I can't guarantee it, but it's a damn good chance. However, anybody feels any of those symptoms, I need to know immediately. I won't say that people haven't passed out on this tour or that I've never had to call an EMT from too much paranormal activity on psychics and mediums and people too sensitive. Yes, it happens. I've seen that look on your face. So, let's not talk about our own health. That's your own warning right there. Let's get on to something else. If you've taken any historical tour in Charleston, you already know we had a big earthquake here in 1886, right? Anybody, have you guys been taking historical tours?
No, just
Okay.
Tomorrow.
We had a big earthquake here in 1886. If you take any other tours, they're going to tell you about it. But I will tell you that this is allegedly where the first death occurred. The white mantling you see in the center of the building also wraps around the front of the building on the east bay side. A piece of it broke off from the earthquake and struck somebody in the back of the head, and they say you could see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street in the middle of the night. I said apparently and allegedly a lot with that because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue so nobody's thinking about getting sick on the tours, Jess. So, I've seen how your eyes bugged out. Are you guys ready to go ghost hunting?
Yes.
do it.
All right.
Do it.
I was like, what did I give you? Because your arms are crossed. I'm
Oh,
like,
I got this thing.
Yeah,
But
got
I
it.
don't really remember what
So am I supposed to be doing this now?
Nope, you're good.
I'm good. So I can put my arm down.
Yep, you're good. I'll tell you when you're all casual and relaxed.
Okay.
You're
There's a lot of
recording,
things
which
for
is
you to like.
What about
remember
Ken?
how
His
to
arm's
tell
gonna get
us
really
what
Kent
clear.
Perkins' arm, yeah.
Can you put it in your pocket?
oh, he'll be fine.
Of your,
He'll be good.
You'll be fine. You're fine.
I do this 7 nights a week.
he's gonna
He's
have
fine.
like sparkle
good.
tunnel
Ken
in
is
his wrist
fine.
later.
Okay, yeah, you are right. There's I mean, I still have another couple of devices in my bag that I
I
left
know
in.
you've got a lot going on.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I still have more stuff coming.
Let's
go ghost hunting.
horse poop.
Yep. Welcome to the Big Red Barn. So we don't spend a lot of time here. This is more of just a quick hands-on interactive, so that way you guys learn more tactics with your device, but there is a little bit of history here and kind of helps with the teachings. Your entire time with me should be thought of as kind of a ghost hunting 101. As we kind of move through the night, you're going to get much better at using and figuring out your device. By the end of our time, the last story that I give you, it's going to be an open forum. You can do pretty much whatever you want to as far as asking questions and the methods that you're going to be using. This space, so the Big Red Barn, this is where we curb the horses for the carriage rides, right? You guys can obviously smell them, several comments, but in the summertime, much worse. So I'm immune to the smell, I can't smell it anymore. But anyway, the history here is really simple. It's a one-liner, and I do that on purpose just so we can move things along. The history here is this is where we kept the horses that used to deliver milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. Whenever I'm giving you historical whatever from each location we go to, I will slow down on keywords. We have 4 spirit boxes in play tonight. We're going to talk about spirit boxes first because there's 4 of you. This is not television. This is not, is somebody here? Like everybody wants to ask, right? Because that's everybody's first question. If somebody says no, that means somebody's here. They answered. You're not going to be asking yes and no questions the whole night. You guys are all here for paranormal proof of some sort. Oh, by the way, if anybody here is a skeptic, I don't want to know who it is, because I'm going to use Ken as an example again because he's standing next to me. If Ken is my skeptic, I'm going to focus on him all night long, and the rest of you are going to miss out based on what's going on in real time. So keep your skepticism to yourself. We're all here to have fun. I will probably call you out at the end of the tour because I'll probably already have a good feel for who the skeptic is. So that's just what I do.
Don't put cards in
It's
you.
going all the way around. So, but with that said, moving on. Spirit boxes. You're going to ask questions in this space that you already know the answers to. For example, what color is the Big Red Barn?
Red.
Right? Very easy. Obviously, we're looking, when I say looking, because we have a word list, and then we're going to be listening for the color red. However, your spirit boxes are using DJs and song lyrics and commercials to convey messages. The word red might not be in their vocabulary. The words fire truck, blood, heart would also be acceptable because those 3 things are specifically red. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So we're going to be looking for clues all night long. It's not going to be like, hi, I'm Big John. I was born in this year. And it's not going to be a full conversation. So really what we're looking for is what color is the Big Red Barn?
We just got the word fighter.
What word?
Fighter.
Like a firefighter.
Like a firefighter.
Yeah, it's still kind of a stretch.
Oh,
and I'm going to call those out. Again, when they're a stretch or it's vague, I'm going to call it out.
Fair.
So unless it said firefighter, everybody stay focused on me as this person walks by, just so you guys know. But with that said, as we kind of go through the night, I am going to require most of the time 2 pieces to verify what's actually happening. For example, word list shows the word art, and Meredith, sorry, I'm trying to remember names.
Yeah.
Here's the number 40 on her spirit box. Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. Did you guys see where I have to put the clues together? We're going to be talking a lot about 17 and 1800s people. These people have the same names: Charles, Georges, Elizas. Like, these are very common names. We need to know who the hell we're talking to. So again, the double clue is going to be, a lot of times, our 40% that's caught in real time of the field work is a great start for me to be able to look for those secondary clues as I'm going through the data for you tomorrow morning, and also for you. So again, if you get the word fire, obviously that's a big deal for me, but I might be looking for something a little bit extra. So even if you do get the word art, I'm going to be looking for the number 40 in the recordings. Does that make sense? So again, you might get some things started for us tonight to further it along in your research tomorrow morning. So, let's see, cameras. Let's kind of get you the gist on those. So thermal imaging, you're going to try to do 2 things here all night long. You're going to try to keep a person in view because we're the warmest thing out here. If anybody's above 97 to 99 degrees, we obviously have an issue. But the reason why is it's going to create that array of color.
Right.
So, and you're also going to try to keep the sky out of view if possible. Some places it's going to be impossible. The reason why is because that blue dot you guys are going to be looking for on your video is going to default to the sky if it's in view because there's no surface. It's looking for surface temperatures. So it automatically defaults to that. As far as your camera, go ahead and, you guys already have the gist on the lasers, right?
Oh, yeah.
So point one of your lasers down for me. You're going to literally kind of, perfect, like 2 to 5 feet away so you can get the array in between. And also when I'm looking on this video when we're not using lasers, you can turn them off. I know, she's excited. Damn it, I had them on. But when I'm looking for in that video, because we're not recording, there's no point to keep it going. I'm looking for things outside the purple circles. You have 2 lights working for you right now. Point the camera at me for a second. So you have short range, and then you have long range up top. If somebody gets too close to you and it bleaches out, you see how her face lit up? you can turn off the short range right there, and the long range is still working for you.
Yeah.
So again, you can do that. It's up to you, however you want to operate it. I will tell you that this bottom toggle switch, I'm going to go ahead and put the camera down for a second at the ground. This gives us night vision. We don't use night vision because it just draws attention from the other tours. They already don't like me because I take their business. So, not to mention, the night vision kind of messes with the green light that we're on the lasers. So we're going to strictly use the 2 IR lights that are on there.
This is crazy how bright it is, and you guys can't see anything.
Nope.
Oh wow,
It's beautiful.
You can see. You guys want to see? Yeah. So like, there's no light coming up. Like, look at them. See how bright it is?
When do you want me to start the?
Wow.
Oh, you're already started. You're
Okay.
still recording. We're going to leave you on for a little
Isn't
while.
it crazy
Oh,
how
okay.
bright it looks? But there's nothing.
What do you
in the
have?
front.
I don't even
It's crazy.
All right, so
Okay.
yeah, it's a spirit box. There's
I have a
4 of
spirit
them.
box.
Mhm.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So
but
we
it's
have
off.
the 2 red ones,
Right.
and then we have yours, which is what I call the open air. That's the
Oh.
standard one they use on TV, by the way.
Oh,
It's called an
okay.
SP7, and then we have the digital spirit box, which is giving us the word list, just so everybody's kind of recap.
Right.
As we walk through the rest of this space, spirit boxes, I do want you listening in just to see if you can hear. Make sure you can hear what those DJs are saying to you. Obviously, we already got the gist of the word list. Meredith, keep yours to your ear level only. The horses don't like the white noise. Just
Okay,
so you
so
know.
do I just like turn it up
Just
now?
turn it up just enough so where you can hear it, and we're going to walk through to the next space and go much deeper than horses and football players. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit more of a gist on what your devices do. I'm going to have to get names wrong.
Oh, Dana.
Dana. So,
It's okay to get it. Yeah,
um,
it gets a lot of people. Be like, hey, you.
yeah.
That girl. Yeah. Straight.
Well, you guys, I was going to call you out by your device, but you guys have already proven you don't remember the names of your devices.
Sorry, we're not very good at it.
Lasers.
I'm going to show you more about that because we're going to spread out at the next space. So, as far as
It's too loud.
you'll see when we get there.
I don't want to be alone.
No, you won't be. You will be just fine. All right. So everybody turn up your spirit boxes. Listen in. I'm going to walk slowly as we get to our next space. When we get there, let me know what you've heard. I do want to see your word list. You're going to lead the way. She's already getting into like the software end of things. Does she work with software?
Yeah.
I'm in a software. I work for a software company.
Yeah, she does.
So let me take a look at your list real quick. What would you want?
I'm like getting things, but I don't know what I'm listening for. Just static and like static.
Oh, like AM, FM.
Yeah.
Again, I've added about
Just regular radio.
just to kind of help our go along. All right, guys, let's roll
But I
along real
can't
nice.
understand it. Yeah. It's like
This is
quiet.
normal, right?
Nope, we're not going to record yet.
Isabel.
Your camera's closed.
Yeah, I'm not so sure.
Isabel.
Oh, wait, should it be a snake? But it's fine. It's with us.
Oh my god, he's trying to connect to you, Allie. He thinks this is his mama.
It's a she.
Sorry.
Have some respect.
Thanks, sorry. Oh, I just heard sub.
Sub?
Someone said sub to me. I heard everybody.
Okay, it's good. You heard something.
Well, I've heard a lot of things, but that's the first thing I could actually hear.
Any
Does that make sense?
Lynn, did you hear anything yet?
I'm just hearing all kinds of radio, Faith Hill, you know, I'm just hearing
But
radio.
it's the lyrics that I'm after. So if you can make out what Faith Hill is singing to you, I want to know what that is.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Does they like feel like woman?
He
Because I
said
had
that
it.
Isabel, and it could have been like a... He said that it's like they might be trying to speak to you through the radio, right?
It's kind of like if you.
I heard
seen the-
livid.
If you see the movie Transformers, it's kind of like Bumblebee. It's the same principle. So Bumblebee didn't have a voice box, so he used the radio to talk to us. It's the same principle of how we're using those two. Allison, have you heard anything yet?
A lot static.
Okay.
And a little bit of just random bits and pieces of songs.
Yeah, it's
Nothing
Like
noteworthy.
nothing you can make out.
Yeah.
this is the hardest job out here, honestly.
Oh, I heard daughter.
This will be interesting. We'll see what pops up on Dana's list. No,
Nancy.
Nancy. I'll get it. I promise. Well,
Isabel, Aura.
no. All right, so let's talk about this space. This is where we're going to start deep diving. This is your level 2. That was level 1. You guys were getting used to things. I'm not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse here, like what we did over there with the red barn, where you guys were supposed to be listening and looking for the color red. The answers that you're going to get are going to be from your spirit boxes, and yes, I will withhold information on purpose to make this a genuine experience, so that way you're not getting those subliminal messages. Does that make sense to everybody? All right, so
Not feeding ya.
yeah, exactly. So
Leading the way.
we are standing at the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion site.
I'm sorry. Just before you said that, he said Charles. I'm not even kidding you. And when you said that,
It's going to be interesting.
And you had Faith Hill, and I got the word Hill. Here.
So I doubt, I highly doubt that, I mean, we're talking about a woman from colonial times.
Charles, though.
Charles, for sure. So here's where it gets weird. Here's where I need those secondary clues. Charles and Eliza had a son named Charles, and they had a nephew named Charles. Now we're dealing with 3 different Charleses. Do you see why I always need the secondary clues? The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. It's a pretty big deal for us, but you guys are all on vacation, and I don't want to talk about politics either. So let's talk about Eliza. Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards, not the colonial times that she came from. So when you're asking about how old she was, no, it's going to be not 12, 13, 14. The only reason I bring this up is because Charles was over double her age when they married. So again, it's not going to be like 12 and 25, just so you guys have that gist. Remember that Charles was over double her age, and even after he died, she remained a widow. So this is a true love story. This was her best friend. She married him because her father over in England thought he was dying, and he wanted to see all of his kids one last time. She didn't believe he was dying. So she stayed put and got married. This is 1744. There's no such thing as a green card. I know, boring. History's boring.
Sorry, no.
I call out
I
yawners
stared
just
at
so
the
everybody
light
knows.
too long.
But anyway, so
I just got Ariana.
ooh, what did I tell you about every word?
Sorry, I just. I don't know.
Not
Maybe
interested.
Charles
She's
like
a
had a
fan.
daughter named
Put me over.
They
Ariana.
did not. So
We'll be here all night.
we will be here all night. Where was I?
I'm here all night.
Oh yeah,
England.
44.
yeah. So she didn't marry him for a green card because there's no such thing. She didn't marry him out of love, and I think I've proven that already. She was right. Dad didn't die right away. So Dad starts sending her gifts from England to this space. The way this place was laid out was the mansion was laid out in the front, broad, and we're going to talk about architecture a little bit as we kind of go through our night. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant and came all the way across, and we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. So one of the things that Dad sent over from England were the seeds of indigo. You guys have been in town for at least a few hours that I know of. You've seen the word indigo somewhere, I promise. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. That's how we use it today. She didn't know how to keep it going in our obviously not warm temperatures all the time, so she had to learn from her slaves how to keep it going. She experimented, got it over to another plantation now in Mount Pleasant, and then calls her dad and says, I need some international contacts so I can start selling this because the rice plantations in town are going downhill. Now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times. Welcome to Women's History Month. So that's all the basis of Eliza. Here's the weird stuff, because that's why you guys are all here. Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles. So it was either really smart or really stupid, however you want to look at it. Ironically, both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. So you can ask her where her maiden name is, so that way you know who we're dealing with. So now we got 3 Charleses, 2 Elizas. You can ask what happened to the mansion. It's obviously not here anymore. Then you can ask what year that happened. That's obviously not a yes or no question. So hopefully you get the specific year. That's happened in the past too. Eliza's death, you can ask anything you want to. How old were you when you died? What did you die from? Let's see, where are you buried? And what U.S. president was a pallbearer at your funeral? Again, all very specific questions. The children, I told you about one of them, named Charles, correct? We already got the name from Lynn. Good job. However, there are more. I'm going to kind of put this out there. You will ruin the tour if you poke the bear with the kids. This happened just the other night. Somebody wanted to ask about the kids a little bit further, other than just their names and how many she had, and all activity pretty much stopped. There's a tragedy among those children. If you poke the bear too much, especially with that tragedy, all activity will stop. Have we gotten any? Nope. Where is it at? Dana? I'm losing track of where everybody is. I'm looking for the EMF. Who's got yours? So have you had anything since we popped up in here? So again, this is a hotbed for EMF. So
We're
again,
at 0. Should we
Okay.
walk around?
we will. once we separate. So again, this is a parking
We're
lot.
gonna
We will
separate.
stay
I don't
within the
wanna-
we're gonna stay within the confines of the wall. Ask as many of those questions as you want to that I gave you. If you go rogue and ask your own questions, make sure it's something I can prove. And again, be mindful of vehicles.
Do we have to say it out loud, or do we just think it?
Whatever method is comfortable for you. A lot of people don't want to do that, so they start thinking about all of those things and focusing on it. Sometimes we can manifest things. I'm not one to say that you can or can't. So if you want to just kind of walk around and see what happens as far as the spirit boxes, walk around and see what happens.
Are we allowed to walk around?
Yeah, let's spread out. Let's have some fun.
Am I just hanging on?
Nope, you're going to start recording. So the two of you are going to start working it here. Yep.
Okay, so.
Yeah, you got to press it pretty hard so it starts flashing. Yep. Good. So again, every 2 minutes, go ahead and stop it and then restart it.
Are we just walking with it?
Nice and slow. Get those lasers off the vehicles. Ken, you got the gist of that thing? You seem like you're pretty interested.
Yeah, it's. I tell you what, it's really interesting. The blue dot keeps going back and forth. And over here, it's like going to different spots back here. It would be like that kind of an empty area that is repoured, and then another spot behind that.
Well, the interesting thing about like the ground in here is we have gravel, we have mud, we have obviously blacktop.
Right.
So you're going to see a big variation in the
Okay.
ground here. Just because, I mean, I'm literally looking for blue spots to like just start moving and walking around.
Oh, you're not looking. Okay, that's
So the ground is going to kind of give you that
yeah.
variation.
So you want to see something that starts moving?
Oh yeah.
Okay, got
Yeah.
it.
So again, this is one of the spaces where the sky is
Yeah.
damn near impossible to keep
Yeah,
out of here.
and I trying to keep everybody about right here down.
Yep. It's the best way to do it, if you can. But again, people get real funny about filming cars. Like,
Yeah, and I'm trying to make sure I don't do it on anybody that's got a car out here, but it's really
it's such a cool device.
well. And I use a thermal scope,
Mm-hmm.
and this is pretty incredible. I mean,
Now, I left the center crosshairs on there on purpose, so
Yeah.
in case you start seeing something move that isn't being caught by the coldest area dot.
Yeah.
That way you can move the camera to put the crosshairs where they need to be.
so like when you put your hands across,
Mm-hmm.
there was definitely a change. Like the ground looks like it's hot
Mhm.
from all the sun and everything.
Right. It's going to hang on to the heat a little bit.
Right. But then when you see like the little blue,
Yeah, something happened. I've seen it go as high as 198 in another space. In here, it's been up to 148. There's
any
nothing
blue?
underneath us to make that
It's-
thing go up.
all went blue, deep blue, all around here.
So does that mean thing? Like what is that?
So, something
It was red before, now it's all blue.
Weird.
So before you were out there, she was
Oh,
red.
you're right.
Yeah.
And now back here,
It's all
It's all
red
blue.
over there and it's blue over here. What about over there?
Is this a cold spot?
wow.
I feel that it's a little cooler right here.
Yeah, it does feel cool.
Elijah.
I think it's Eliza.
It's Eliza.
Elijah.
Oh.
That's the word I just got. Maybe there's a list.
You see anything interesting on there?
Well, this was red, now it's all blue.
This is definitely cold.
Yeah.
I feel it's cooler right here.
It
But again,
does.
I don't know if it's like the breeze or something.
So like
Oh yeah.
red that way, and right here is blue.
Weird. Wonder if you've seen that.
So you're moving and then it's going to make it go off. It's a false positive. On the right hand side where your thumb is, there's 4 buttons. The very bottom. Your thumb should be on that bottom button at all times. Anytime this thing goes off, you want to click that button to reset it to make sure it's not your movement to make it. So I know it's a lot of work, but this is why we do this part last.
Okay.
I know,
Staying
a lot of
alive.
work,
Okay.
but I love that thing. How you doing on there?
Well, blue dot just bouncing all around up there. It's not being a back up so good.
Oh, I did.
So this was all red, now it was all blue, and then right there in that spot here. So like that. See how
Well, again, it's going to fluctuate based on whatever the heat is in the camera. So, like somebody walking by, it's obviously showing you the differential of temperature between Dana and the ground. So when she gets out, it's going to go a lighter shade of blue. It's going to vary.
go.
But those are great questions. All right, what do we got going on the work list? And Meredith, have you heard anything yet?
Just Elijah's the only one we've had.
Technically, I'm not sure.
Well, after.
Did he say why it was cold?
I just said that it looked like it was, as you walk by, it got hot,
But
and
I
it
thought
got
that was
cold.
an easy question.
So it's,
Fred B, you got?
so like that.
Oh yeah, this is like really changing.
Yeah.
But you're hearing it, right? The static.
And it gets blue. And it really got dark blue over here.
Oh.
Like in the, see how dark it is?
Oh, he said right here is dark
Yeah.
blue. Oh, so maybe we could be working with him on Florida.
What color was his hair, Eliza?
That is weird. Yeah, right here it's really blue.
Yeah, you're standing right on the dark blue.
Alright, let me move back.
Oh, perfect groups. So when people are coming through the lot, it's an automatic be casual, lasers off. Because people get real funny about that. So anybody coming through the lot, they could be cutting through or going to their
Got it.
vehicle. They take their breaks in their vehicles, so these are employee cars.
So why did his screen go blue? Like
It's
that?
a variation of what's inside the frame at that moment. So to prove a point, let's go over here. I'll show you exactly what. So this nice blank wall. Point your camera directly at the blank wall. Try to get the ground out. Perfect. So it's pretty orange and red, right? So watch what happens when my hand goes in. The wall should turn blue. Well, maybe not in this scenario because we already have blue in it. But normally what I'll do is I do that demo over by the barn, so that way you can see like the barn wall will turn blue when it's normally red without another heat signature in it. So again, it's a. Did you lock up or is it?
No, I stopped it for a sec.
Just to make sure it's not locked up.
No,
Okay.
we're good. It's been good so far. I've just been stopping it every couple minutes.
I've already called the manufacturer. Like,
So weird.
yeah, and it could be the user. Like they just got too much going on with them. But
Yeah.
I mean, I use 5 different batteries for that thing. Because I mean, I carry 5 batteries.
Yeah.
These things get drained. So plus I have batteries for literally everything out.
Everything,
So
yeah.
if something goes wrong, I can do some quick
It's
battery
been
swaps.
good so far.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Interesting. Anything, Dane?
No. Not since her first hit. Your first hit. Right. I'm scared to go by myself. She would follow me.
I'll come with you.
Okay. Alright, so this is where I give you guys the answers. So I am pretty excited that Lucas showed up here. It doesn't show up here on the word list often, but when it does, it's
What was it?
Lucas. That's
Why
up.
do you turn this off?
That's completely up to you. If you want to
Oh,
hear
okay.
the answers, by all means, turn it down. I can't hear it, so it's not interrupting me. Same thing with the two that have earbuds in. If you want to keep one in and get all the answers that way, you can. But I am going to give you all the answers to those questions that I did hand out. So first off, I'd like for you to at least see what Eliza looked like. And Ken, you can stop your video, so hit that red square until it turns to a circle. Just tap it. It's on your right. Now it's upside down.
That's upside down.
We're going to stop it together. Go ahead and stop it, and then restart it. What I do is
You're
video in the
upside
middle.
down.
All right, so this is considered a quiet area. So if you want to turn that down, we're next to a hotel, so we're going to be very brief here. This is just a quick stop.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
I know this one's hard. Wewe're getting ready to replace this one.
Okay.
It's going to be a whole new
Thank
device.
you.
There's a
This is
massive
really
upgrade to that one.
Okay.
I can't wait to get my hands on it. So it actually plays FM and AM at the same time.
Oh.
Yeah. So that way, whatever comes through, it's like, yes, can't wait to use it. But anyway, so this place is Lodge Alley. Have we heard any names, or did we see any names on our word list?
Meredith did.
I heard a couple things,
do you
but
got?
it was more down by the market. I heard Reggie, Baby, Green, and then when we turned on the alley, I heard Whip.
You heard what?
Whip. They weren't names, but they were
Whip.
Whip.
For some reason, I like the word green. I don't know why. I'm gonna write it on down as we leave.
Yeah.
Just
It
because
was more over in front of the post office.
Could be a possible last name.
Yeah.
Green. So that's the reason why it might be sticking out to me. So welcome to Lodge Alley. When we crossed that last crosswalk coming down East Bay Street, that's where the original Charlestown Wall used to be. So Charleston used to be called Charlestown, the walled city. So yeah, this is an interesting place to do that. Just be mindful. Again, bad dad with those. Every time the lasers go on, and like my radar goes on. But anyway, so this is one of the very first streets we ever had. People used to live here. So these two giant buildings that we're looking at right now, they weren't here. So tiny little shotgun houses. I have the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived down here. Now, the last place we just went to, I know, yawning.
Sorry.
The last place we were at was an intelligent ghost. You can ask questions and get answers. This is not that way. This is a residual ghost. If you watch the TV shows, you know that's kind of like watching a loop, right? That's what this is. So I commonly get the names Benjamin and John. I know that sounds very common. Battery died? Yeah. Okay. We'll swap it out as we're walking out again. So anyway, actually we can do it while I'm talking. But anyway, Benjamin and John both lived here in 1801. I get those same names every 6 to 7 weeks. So take that for what it's worth. And it's 2 out of 5 people that lived here at that time. That's a pretty good percentage that it's the same Benjamin and John every 6 to 7 weeks. Now right now we're in week 3 of that loop, so I keep track of that so I know like when to expect things. And again, notice I didn't tell you the names Benjamin and John. So every once in a while I get a third name. That name is Jane. That's a third person that lived here in 1801. I have no significance of the year 1801 in this space other than those people lived here. That's all I got. Again, very odd. Here's why that happens. The bricks you're standing on, these are called Belgian blocks. They're made straight from granite. You watch the TV shows, you've probably heard the term limestone, right? It generates more energy and all of that and kind of stirs things up a little bit. Granite is also straight from the earth, which means it can also do the exact same thing. So, you're back on me. With that said, that's part of the reason why we're hearing the same things over and over and over again every 6 to 7 weeks in this space. The other thing that actually occurred here is that the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge here, so hence the name Lodge Alley. So we do get terms like Freemason, Mason. I've even heard the terms Illuminati come through on the radio spirit boxes. Yeah. It just makes me chuckle every time I hear it. Like, really? We're going to go with conspiracy theories on top of this? So Illuminati showed up, I think, 4 or 5 times last year. So it was a pretty big deal. They did do an archaeological dig underneath these bricks, found some of the residents' clothing and that kind of thing. Watch your night vision. Night vision for now. But they did find like tools and clothing and that kind of thing from the people that lived here. They were able to classify them as lower class people. It makes complete sense. across the street on East Bay where we were would have been the other side of the wall, which means the smell of low tide would have been coming through here quite often. The richer people of Charleston are not going to put up with that. Now, if you've been walking around Charleston, you notice the houses are skinny in the front and they go long back. We have captured orbs in here. Your camera will find orbs really easy, but I also have a way to figure out if it was an actual insect or not. Now, I haven't seen any other insects in here tonight. Like, normally there's a lot of insects or there's no insects. Okay, perfect. And was it recording still? Yeah. Perfect. Awesome. I'm excited for that. But the houses that are skinny in the front and long back, you were taxed based on how much street side you took. So if you're skinny in the front, you don't pay as many taxes. The Pinckneys, I told you, they went broad. They didn't care. They're outside the city walls. They got money. We're going to pay the taxes. We don't care. We have it. We want to show off our beautiful home. Down here, the smell of low tide was a big deal, but that skinny in the front also gives those people a piazza with the front door on the porch. It stops the smell of low tide from coming in. They open up the second story window. The nice cool air breeze from the water comes in, cools down the whole house because cool air drops, heat rises. So again, that's why those houses are designed that way. If you notice, they're all at a certain angle. So that's the reason why they are set up that way. But that Pinckney thing, I love to show off that it sat broad because they didn't care. They'll pay the damn taxes. They're all governors or politicians in some way, shape, or form. This space, again, I kind of stall here for just a minute and walk slowly towards the end as we exit the alley. So those of you with cameras will stop your video because we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood. I'm literally taking you along the edges of where we're allowed to go because I still have to follow tourism laws. No lasers as we kind of go through there. You're kind of out of the game for just a little bit. The next alley we're going to go to, I cannot take you through. I've been kicked out. Remember, you guys all have gizmos and gadgets, and I didn't always have earbuds, and not everybody's responsible with lasers. I will explain why I got kicked out of there once we get to that space, but I still tell the story outside of the alley because we still get a ton of evidence as I'm telling you the story. There's a ton of key words, and it is kind of a hybrid. It's almost like a residual. Everything's always happening all the time, but we also get direct answers if somebody decides they want to ask something. So again, it's kind of a hybrid because we never know. Just me telling the story kind of seems to stir things up. We're going to start seeing other tours that are a lot larger than ours. Like again, we're a group of 8. We're allowed to go to 20. I just don't do it. So once we get up into those other corners of the area, you're going to see those bigger tours. I'll kind of maneuver us to stay out of their way. We're ghost hunting. They're telling stories and moving on. But we're going to learn some myths and legends based on what you guys are hearing out of your spirit boxes. And then we're going to deep dive into a female pirate as our last stop. Kind of like what we did at the Pinckney Mansion site. But again, there's kind of like, I just like to give you the layout of the land of where we're at and what's going to happen for the rest of your evening. So any other terms show up on our word list?
Cut and read, pride, fiddle, months, informed, loose, lock, resistance, and virus.
What was the last one?
Virus.
Virus.
And erase.
Yeah, nothing. That's a weak list tonight. Just putting it out there. So, Allison, how you doing over there?
Just hearing a lot of like static mostly.
Okay.
I'm trying to understand what I'm hearing.
Okay. Who has the recordable one? Did I give that one to you? Does it have a little red tab? Yeah, you have the recordable one. Lynn,
Yeah.
have you heard anything
The
since
only
we've been
thing
in?
I've heard that I can, like she said, it's hard to get. It's like they start and then they. I don't know if it's a name or if it's just something, but it was Mercy.
Anything for you, Jane?
No.
This is not a space where we normally get anything, so if we could get a spike, then we would pretty excited.
This is frozen.
Okay, fix it as we walk. All right, guys, we're gonna walk slowly.
Obviously, we turn this off.
We can wait till we exit the alley.
Does anyone want to trade devices or try something different?
Alley.
Yeah, Allie, do you want the camera? Oh, she likes that one.
I like mine. I like the big too. Even though I don't know how to turn up the volume.
Maybe Allie will that one.
Test my ability.
Guys along the wall. So, any words along the way here on the word list? Words of that now?
It still says rage.
Okay.
So that's the light. It's the actual light. This is how you record. You said to do it every 2 minutes.
Yeah, you want to stop it every 2 or 3 minutes, just so we don't miss recording.
This is recording.
Yep, she's recording now, so she's good. Alright, so those of you with cameras, I want you to be filming the alley behind me nice and discreetly. So it's almost even, it's almost like down a little bit. There you go. Perfect. So that way people don't see it
Discreetly.
because we're going to see other biker groups going down there. So technically we're allowed to tour about halfway through there, but it's unfair to you guys to try to do an investigation and get more evidence while other tours are operating with groups of 20. Because I mean, that's just a lot of people and we're just in their way. So this alley is called Philadelphia Alley now. It used to be called Duelers Alley. So this is where the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. See those? Again, not everywhere. So,
That one just.
you guys are going to leave here and go like, that guy has a lot of kids. Or, so, I just became a grandfather, if anything can actually do it. I didn't say I was happy about it. It just blows my mind that I am now a grandfather. So, but anyway, we all talk about it with the,
A child is always a blessing.
if I ever get to meet him.
There you go.
It's one of them stories. So let's talk about the duel. It's more exciting. So we all talk about one specific duel because it actually happened and we can actually prove it. So here's how the story goes. A doctor moves into town by the name of Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because his fiancee Amanda just inherited a bunch of money. You got all kinds of words popping up.
Sarah?
What was it?
Sarah?
No. Amanda, not Sarah.
Amanda.
Amanda just inherited a bunch of money. She has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash. The attorney thinks the doctor is just after her money, so he tells her, get rid of the doctor. He moves to Charleston to prove that he's not just after her money. The coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. So it wasn't a very good start. Yeah, pretty hardcore. So it wasn't a very good start. Somebody walking by with the name Ralph Isaacs. And I stop on Ralph's name because you're all ghost hunting for spirit boxes. Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Ralph Isaacs, Rhode Island. R.I. will show up here, but I need that secondary clue so I know who it belongs to. Anyway, Ralph says, hey dude, you don't want to stay here. He's got a man inside that's going to try to kill you. He's got a gun. So, he says, I got some friends that can rent you a room at 59 Church Street. Church Street is the next block that we're going to. It's up that way. So, the doctor takes him up on that offer, and the two become friends. The doctor's practice starts to take off. He's making his own money, a lot of it, which means Amanda's moving down soon. He becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. Now, every haunted city you all will ever visit has a whistler. Ours just happens to be a doctor. Just so you guys know. Now, him and Ralph were, again, friends, but the doctor makes more money. So when he goes to see plays together, the doctor gets much better seats. They can't sit next to each other. So they talk about the plays on the way home. One night they go see William III. The doctor thought the new actress in town was fantastic. Ralph did not. They start arguing, and then Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancee, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. So, it's just a battery pack on her. She's exploring her device. But anyway, so the two obviously go their separate ways, but Ralph is from here. He has friends at the newspaper. He puts an ad in the paper. I don't think I have to explain what a newspaper is to this group. That's nice. He puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. It's kind of a jerk move. The doctor sees the ad and he rebuttals with, we're going to go to Dueler's Alley and we're going to settle this. So they come down, they take their 20 paces, they turn, the doctor points his gun in the air and shoots. He did not want to kill his friend. However, Ralph has his one shot. Puts it in the kneecap. Sorry, Ken. I was shooting in the kneecap. That's all I was doing. So the doctor didn't die either. But Ralph made his point that he's still angry. So the doctor's friends pick him up and they carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. Remember, this guy's a doctor. He probably tried to heal himself from bleeding it out. So, as they say, as you walk through the alley, you can actually hear the whistles from the doctor. I invite you to walk down and turn on the doors for closed. However, I'm going to warn you that all the locals know the story. Anybody walking down Cumberland or Queen Street on the other side, we all throw a whistle down the alley, including me. I do it every single night on my way home. My garage is right there. We end over on the next street. So I pass Philadelphia Alley every single night. If my youngest daughter is with me, we race to Philadelphia Alley to see who's going to throw the whistle first. It's a fun little game we have. We play with the ghosts. It throws off the other tours. I told you guys I can't take you all the way through it. It is considered residential at the end. This alley didn't always come all the way through to Cumberland Street. So, the bricks on the other side, on the Queen Street side, are a lot older than the bricks that you see right here at the edge. Those bricks are sun-dried from slave children. We have one full handprint and many fingerprint swipes through those bricks, and you can see them. I used to show them off to show how far we've come in Charleston. However, it is right outside somebody's dining room window. My irresponsible groups got me in trouble one night by putting a spirit box, laser grids, and EMF meters near that, and I got caught. So, the interesting thing is that was November 26th, 2020, the day before Thanksgiving. So I took 27th off, because obviously the holiday. November 28th, I rerouted the tour to go up and talk about that crazy female pirate that I didn't even believe the story. Then somebody hears the number 300 on their spirit box. I have no idea what the hell it means, because I'm winging it at this point. I go home and do the research. We were there on November 28th, 2020, the exact 300-year anniversary of Anne Bonny's trial. So, like, damn it, now I gotta talk about pirates. So, that was a pretty big deal. Also, I will tell you that they say that you can hear the gunshots down this alley. I don't have any proof of that, but I do have a few faint whistles in the background. Now, mind you, if you are here for pictures and a beautiful city, this is probably one of the prettiest spots we have in all of Charleston and Serene. You can see right now in the middle of the night, it's perfect lighting for photos. So if you're an Instagrammer, this is your spot, I promise you. Has anybody heard anything? Did any words pop up? No. Nothing. Anybody hear anything? Meredith, you got anything? I know it's hard to listen to me and the spirit boxes at the same time. I know, because there was a lot of details in my story.
I think I might have heard the word turn
Okay.
before you mentioned it.
It's like turn around, huh?
Yeah, that's...
All right. All right. So pay attention to your devices as we go around the corner. We'll see what pops up, especially those spirit boxes. There's like 15 stories up there. I know which ones are true, which ones aren't. If we don't hear anything that's relevant to any of those stories, I will definitely go to my normal go-to. Then we'll deep dive into the pirate stories and kind of see what we got going on.
Oh. Like heal these. Heal eye.
I saw bits and pieces of that with my dog. I didn't watch the whole thing.
Before I have you guys sit down and chill out for a few minutes to listen to our story time, I'd like to point out a few things. So that wall across that's the wall to Philadelphia Alley that we just spoke of. There's a cage in the event there was a laser to a door and a dead guy. Remember, the alley didn't go all the way through, so that was the shortcut to come over the courtyard and go drop the body at the cemetery behind it. So that way they didn't have to walk all the way up to Queen Street and come around down this way. So again, it's just the way the layout of the land here is a little odd compared to most cities. So yeah, you guys can go ahead and have a seat, and we're gonna kind of get into a couple of things. Terms, words, things you're hearing. What do we got? Anything?
I heard crazy and all night.
And what? All night?
All night.
Okay.
Healthy File Regional Teacher Battery.
Allison, anything?
Guilty. Oh, sorry. Wrong. Well, I heard
IDB
illegal.
is failing. Thought for sure she'd be like hearing all kinds of stuff coming through there. Okay, so this space is very weird, and you can actually stop the filming here. We'll kind of save the battery. Finally, a bar came off your battery pack. That's good. So what that battery pack is doing is it's just keeping the FLIR powered because it's only meant to last for an hour.
Wow.
So I Velcroed a power pack to the back of it, so it just keeps it charged for our full 2-hour time together. Uh-oh.
I know, I'm like awful.
Alright, so thus far, just kind of getting a feel for what we've seen and heard so far, everything has been pretty weak and light, I'm going to be quite honest. So again, this is our last stop, so fingers crossed that we're going to capture a lot here, because this space in particular is a hit or miss. We're either going to have a ton, or we're not going to have anything. And Bonnie is said to be seen all over town, so we're going to talk about why we come here specifically. So let's kind of get into that. We're going to be talking about the building over there with the crosses on it. So those are not crosses, those are earthquake bolts. You don't know what earthquake bolts are? They're basically turnbuckles. If we have another earthquake like what we did in 1886, you can tighten up those turnbuckles and it'll straighten the building back up. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. So the reason I point these out is because it's the very first set of earthquake bolts we put in, because this is the oldest government building in South Carolina. Something, just hit you right in the face. It was a leaf, this one. Saw it. Were you the one that got hit with a leaf earlier too?
It was me.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I was going to say, damn, somebody's trying to drop something on you.
Yeah.
Maybe it aimed for you and then
Maybe.
it missed.
We'll find out. All right, so oldest government building in South Carolina. I told you guys about the Charlestown walls earlier, right? Back when we were back at Lodge Alley. That wall existed on the street behind you. So it literally went up past the powder magazine and started going south towards the battery. It's locked into the corners on purpose. If it gets hit from cannon, from a pirate ship or a Revolutionary warship 3 blocks away, it's going to have a hard time going through the 32-inch thick walls. They're pretty giant. But we're going to pretend a cannonball goes through and it blows up the gunpowder. There's sand in the roof that will go up in the air with the explosion and fall to put out the fire of the gunpowder. It's another great idea, but that doesn't work either. We had another powder magazine, same scenario, it got hit, sand in the air, building burned to the ground, it doesn't exist anymore. This one served in 7 different wars, including the Civil War for you history buffs. This was its last servant. It's a museum now. So, the reason why we're here is because this is kind of like it's a familiar, right? So, same time period of Anne Bonny. We don't have any buildings this old, especially in the route of where tour guides are actually allowed to go. So it's kind of like using a toy to interact with a child ghost. So kind of think of this building in the same way.
Which building are you talking about?
The little tiny building with the crosses on it. So it was finished in 1713, but it took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our
I
government?
just heard hello.
Again?
It's just out of the. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, and it's like hello.
Hello was on there.
And it sounded like a woman.
I was on here too.
Normally things go a little bit closer. Like sometimes I'll see words on there that I heard on the recording. So just depends. So welcome to Charleston, full of hecklers. Love it. That was a good one.
That was really
It's
good.
all on your recording,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Well, I got the audio, so when you guys are listening in, so we'll see what happens. That was definitely not an actual EVP. All right. So, 10 years to build this little building. So our story begins in the middle of its construction. Stay with me, there's a lot of twists and turns. This is a whopper of a story. 1708, a young lady moves here by the name of Anne Cormack. She moves here with her father and his mistress. You guys with me so far? The mistress is her mom. Still with me?
Yes.
The three of them running away from his wife. Okay? How pissed was the wife in Ireland? They had to get on a boat and get over here in 1708. Just saying. So anyway, they land in Georgetown, just north of here. Dad buys a plantation. Mom dies pretty quickly. He has to send young Anne down here to Charlestown to be able to sell anything from the plantation and keep things afloat. Anne back home in Ireland was kind of a badass. They say she actually killed one of her servants at the age of 7 or 9 with a knife to the belly. Like, she's pretty hardcore. Yeah, so kind of keep that mentality. So my nose is super itchy.
She's
So
a
when you-
badass or she's like psychotic?
Or a murderer.
Yeah.
however you want to look at it. Normally the term badass is used with this young lady.
But seven.
Allergies.
Yeah.
Instead of killing an animal, she killed a person.
Apparently.
Maybe the person was wrong.
I'm Irish too.
So, where was I? Oh yeah, so we're going to fast forward a little bit. The building was done in 1713. In 1715, pirates are coming through town. Anne at this time is about 16, 17 years old, and she is stoked. She falls in love pretty quickly. This guy's name is James Bonney. Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. I wouldn't approve either. They run away to Jamaica to get married. Anne Cormack becomes Anne Bonny, the most famous female pirate of the Golden Age. Her career started right where you're standing. So, when she gets down there, James is not the Captain Jack Sparrow guy that she was hoping for, the swashbuckling rum drinker. So, he's a privateer, a spy for the British. He's a coward. This isn't who she wanted. A few years later, she falls in love again. Guy number 2, I'm going to keep track. There's plenty of them. Guy number 2, his name is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. He is the swashbuckling rum drinking guy who has his own crew and his own ship, and Anne wants to be part of it. You cannot put a girl on the crew. Girls curse pirate ships. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and hide your gender, you can be part of the crew, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. He's the captain. So she's okay with this because back home in Ireland, Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy to hide her away from his wife. So she's okay. Let's do this. Let's put 2 and 2 together. Female in his quarters, she's eventually going to get pregnant. So can't have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. It's not going to work out. Somebody's going to figure out she's a girl. He drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby, come back later. We'll figure it out later. She has the baby, returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to this kid. She's also dressed like a female. This makes Jack pretty mad. He also just captured another pirate crew that's down below deck, and Anne's going to go flirting because that's what Anne does. So now we've probably changed her psychotic term to maybe whore. So
Oh,
just
she's
however
a
you want to do
fucking badass. I love her. I want to be Anne.
Oh wait, let's
No.
talk about guy number 3.
Yeah, let's not diminish Anne. She's something amazing.
She's not a whore, she's powerful, but
Yeah.
psychotic.
Guy number 3 turns out to be, hang on, this is where it gets twisty. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, just like a guy, to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now she's flirting with a female. She figures it out. This young lady's name is Mary Reed. The two become friends, possibly lovers, depending on which community you belong to. We never know. However, she convinces her to become part of the crew, and the British find out where they are. They send their entire fleet to come and get one ship. So it's Anne and Mary, the only two not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet muskets. So they're up there plowing away. Obviously, they're going to get caught. As they're being arrested, she looks over at Jack and she says, "You should have fought like a man instead of going down like a dog." So, dog shows up here as a key word quite often. The judge, his name is Nicholas Laws. I just told you about Nicholas Trott across the street.
Wait, I just got law before you said that.
When I say Laws, it's L-A-W-E-S, and that's okay because I don't think that spelling is in there, but I'm excited. That's good.
I got a law at 9:45.
3 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, Nicholas Laws wants to see the 2 men by themselves after he tries and hangs Calico Jack and the crew that wouldn't come up and fight. So the 2 men go in front, they reveal their gender. He doesn't care that they're female. They're trying to save themselves. They're still pirates in his eyes. He's going to hang them. "We plead our bellies" was the last thing they said, meaning they're both claiming to be pregnant. You can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. By the way, this is the November 28th date that I told you guys about over by Philadelphia Alley,
300 years.
where I got booted out and had to come up here. So he sends them both back to jail. Dad is still here in Charleston with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne. She remarries. That's husband number 2, guy number 4. Has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. That's all we know. As far as Mary Reed goes, she died in the Jamaican jail a year later in 1721 from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. There's probably scurvious and bumpy and gross and whatever else you guys want to come up with. Now, there's 2 things that I left out on purpose. Spirit boxes, you can ask anything you want to, but I do leave out 2 things that I know I can prove for certain. That's the name of Calico Jack's ship in the name of Anne Bonny's parents. That's the father and the mistress. So, I told you at the beginning of this tour that people have passed out. This is one of those instances where it's relevant to the story. Back in September, I brought my group back here. Before I tell the story, the young man next to me starts to pass out. He goes white as a ghost, pun intended. We're on a ghost hunt. So I pick him up by his armpit, I take him over to that brick wall over there, I send his boyfriend across the street with a couple of dollars to get him a bottle of water. He comes back, dude's feeling better, I then tell the story. I know all that seems really irrelevant, but as I send everybody out to go play with their stuff and go investigate, they pull me aside and say, we have to tell you something. I'm like, what's going on? We are 2 transgender males, meaning I had 2 females dressed as males on my tour. And it made complete sense as to why one of them passed out as soon as we hit the space.
I just got super chilled when you said, I mean, my legs, everything.
So, yeah, I did the same thing. Just got chilled.
And we're standing almost in the exact same spot. Because I normally come back here just to stay out of the other tour's way, because they like to go up to the wall or the front of the building.
That's creepy.
So here's what's going to happen in here. Spirit boxes, I definitely want you listening. That's been an obvious, thing all night long. Cameras. If you want to go to the front of the building and shine the lasers, who's got lasers now? Okay, so if you want to put the lasers in the front lawn, you can. You just can't go above, don't go up, because those are apartments. You'll be shining in somebody's living room. Keep it down on the ground, in the lawn. Cameras, if you want to go up front and get us some footage, by all means do so. Okay. Just stay out of the way of the other tours. They like to stop and tell the story by the front of the building. So just kind of wait your turn, get us some footage, come back. We will end over there by that brick wall. Okay. If I don't like this device, it's just weird that you took it, because this is not a normal space where I get a lot of activity. I do want you to turn on the REM pod in here. Just because I got some really great stuff a few weeks ago. That's the little white button in the back. I'll show you once I separate everybody. But again, if you guys see other tours coming through, just stay out of their way. They're going to tell their story and move on. I haven't seen a whole lot of other tours out tonight. It's definitely not summertime. So, summertime we're bumping elbows. It's crazy down here. All right, but let's turn those spirit boxes up. Let's see if we can capture. I am excited about Lost.
Wow, this is really.
Thing's cool.
Yeah.
It's really, I want to get one of those.
With the camera.
Well, I didn't know if we were following. Hey, Nick. It's frozen.
They just left side. So if you get in front of the.
What did you steal on your potato chips?
You got anything?
I just had to wait till they left the front.
Yeah.
That's some big cannons in front of that.
Yeah. You see a lot more of those down at White Point Garden.
Really?
Oh yeah. Bigger ones. Those are little guys. Yeah.
Those are little?
Mhm.
Good.
Much bigger ones down at White Point.
So would that be, those are almost too big for a ship though, aren't they?
Oh, like I can tell you.
Wow.
No, those are probably about the size they would have used on a pirate ship. So if you hear like 10 to 12 cannon, just depending on the size of the ship, I mean, 10 to 12 cannon, that's a large ship.
Yeah.
Some of them have gone all the way up to like 24 to 36, just depending on how big the ship was and what country it originated from. But like standard English ship would probably have about 10 to 12 of those on there. So 6 on each side.
God.
So,
So bringing this new meeting to broadside, right?
but nice putting those clues together. Like, is that big or little? But it is. That would be considered a smaller one. I mean, warfare. Fighting for the land. That's where you'll see the ones that are White Point Garden. Like they're pretty large, unless they moved them again. They move stuff around here all the time.
So, and they had basically all the powder, all the stores, munitions were here.
And they would move it, to keep it safe. So, sometimes they
When a
would.
pirate show up, they don't want to.
Right.
Yeah.
So even though it served in 7 different wars, I mean, think about it. It was here for the Civil War. So it probably wasn't here more than a week or so before they shifted somewhere else.
Yeah. That's insane.
But if you have like daylight hours left here in Charleston, it's like $5 to go check it out on the inside. It's a museum. Like that has all the war uniforms and all the artillery used in those wars. Yeah, it's really cool.
We might do that tomorrow.
It's like $5. It's well worth it. I had a season pass in there for like 12. Like it's. But yeah, definitely a cool place. And even the little tour they give you, like how it's constructed, like it's a groin vaulted ceiling, so it's basically got 8 pillars on the outside. That's why the roof is shaped the way that it is, and they all meet in the center to keep it fortified. Like it's definitely locked into place.
That's pretty awesome.
It is a pretty awesome place, and I've done a lot of research on it.
Is it strange that we would both get chills? The temperature tonight is probably 65 or 70.
Yeah,
That was a while.
You still give me chills.
42 years. Keep that thought.
All right, are we ready to wrap this up? You guys not getting anything?
I'm not getting
yawning.
anything.
I told you, white noise will make you yawn. All right,
I know, I am feeling tired.
Gotta see the cannons around there.
Alright, so before I collect the devices, let me get you guys the 2 little bit of answers that I gave you and show you what Anne looked like. So Anne, her father's name was William Cormack, and the mother's name was Mary Brennan. So we have a secondary Mary, which none of you were expecting. So that was from your movements. This is what Anne looked like. It's one of the few pictures I could find with her having a shirt on. Normally she would bare a breast to show a man that they were just killed by a woman by bearing a breast.
I love her so much.
She was pretty hardcore.
That's amazing.
Calico Jack was named so because of the jackets that he wore. They were all from the men he killed.
Oh,
so
wow.
he would swap out his jacket. So he's a very
That's
dapper.
pretty cool too.
Yeah, that's why he's called Calico Jack. It's the only picture we have of him. So his ship was called the Kingston. So do I expect Kingston to pop up on a spirit box? I do not. However, we do get the word king quite a bit here. That is very acceptable, especially if you ask that directly. Did you guys ask anything else that maybe you got a direct answer from or didn't get a direct answer from?
I asked about the ship, but I didn't really hear anything that would have been that I could make out.
Okay. So, again, I'm excited about Laws. We'll see what else. If I can get my name out of it, obviously Nicholas pops up. I'm going to be super stoked that we had a full name. We got the full date of the trial one day last week. So somebody heard the term 2011, which we have 11 for November, and then 20 was the year, and then I heard 28, and I did the spot check. So we had all 3 numbers, 11, 28, 20. So again, can't make this shit up. Like, I just can't. But again, this was a little lighter than normal. I think we struggled with the spirit boxes, so the real-time stuff is a little light for me to kind of go off of. But it doesn't mean that I won't find a ton in the morning when I'm going through your videos and audio.
I know, that's what I was saying, like hearing Allie's thing, it's like you can hear words, but it's so hard to understand what
It's
they're
really
saying, 'cause
quick.
It's so
It's
fast.
really quick.
And I withhold information on purpose.
Right.
So again, there's certain things, unless it pops up, that's the only time I'll give you tidbits. Kind of like Ken and I were just discussing the construction of this building and the way it's made. I don't give that to you just to see if anything else is going to come up. I'm spot on the dot, by the way. I don't pay attention to time. I don't know if you guys caught on to that. Like, I'm not the guy where like, oh my God, it's 2 hours. We got to get going. We're literally 2 hours and 42 seconds, like almost to the minute. So, again, even us speeding along through the Pinckney
I just
Mansions.
got over.
Because you went
Over a little bit. Yep.
Or the tour is
Oh
over.
gosh,
I just got another hour. No.
So, based on the 2 hours I see here, you're probably going to have about that 7 to 8 hours worth of recordable data. Not to mention the word list with all the links I'm going to give you. You're probably going to have a good 10-hour workday ahead of you. So, the easiest way to do this, we're at the beginning of the month. So, I separate everything by month. The newest tour goes at the top. So your videos go to YouTube, so you can always save or embed it somewhere. That way you guys don't have to keep coming back to my website and searching through all of March to find yours. The audio pieces will be in MP3s. Right-click it and download it. Copy-paste all my notes and analysis so you guys have the markers. Whatever you want to do, it's yours. It stays up there for an entire year. So again, if you want to go back and see what happened on your birthday, if I had a tour that night, it'll be up there. I don't hide anything. And again, if it's something as sketchy or vague, I even put that in your analysis. This is vague, but this could be a possibility. So again, I'm excited about green for some reason. I don't know why I want to look into that. Like,
Yeah.
that just seems like a thing. Like, I don't know why.
Yeah.
Let us know.
I don't know. And you will.
Nothing
I wrote it
to
down.
add.
I wrote down green and whip. So
Yeah,
we'll
whip
see.
was kind of weird. I didn't like that.
Well, the weird thing is you said you heard it by the market.
No, I heard whip when we were in the alley. I heard
Okay.
green when we were by the market.
Okay.
I heard Reggie and green, and then whip.
Reggie. Yeah, I can almost for sure say that there's no Reggie on the Lodge Alley list.
Yeah.
Because I read that thing constantly because somebody says, oh, I heard Hannah. I'm like, it could be. Let me look it up. Oh,
Yeah.
look, there's a Hannah.
Yeah.
And then I give you the link to the word to the names of those residents and tell you how to look it up. But that way you guys have those extra things. It's not that I think you guys did bad and we didn't catch up, stuff. I just think it was one of those nights where we struggled with the spirit boxes and we won't know with the videos until we actually capture something, until we review it. As far as the IR camera, and she thinks something went through the camera at Lodge Alley. I'm excited about that. Can't wait to see what's going on there. But again, you guys are going to have a lot of work to do, so we can definitely stop your videos. I'm going to start collecting devices. You can